Welcome to part 2 of the wheel bearings on this 1957 Ferguson 35. So let's get into it. I think the first job to do is to clean that stub axle. So I want to clean this up a bit. So our grease seal is going to sit in there. I'm going to take the heavy of it off with this wire brush, and then I'm going to run around with it after I clean it with some sandpaper. All of that dry grease in there will come off. So I'm going to get my spray bottle with diesel now and give that a wipe down and scratch all that dirty dry grease out of it there. Get all that nice and clean. Give all this a clean up as well. This is a new hub grease seal. So I'm just going to fit this on and see exactly where I have to clean. I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's just this. Yeah, it's just that surface there. I've scratched around there with a pick, so I'm going to give that a quick clean up as well with a bit of sandpaper and good clean. But yeah, this race here is basically the best place to focus on to get this. So I'm going to rub that, polish it up with a bit of sandpaper. I know it's only grease that's going to be in here, but sure, it's as easy to do a good job as it is to do a bad job. I want to clear out this slot as well, make sure it's nice and clean for that this washer. So this washer is a captive washer, so it doesn't turn. It has to slide in there, and it's just going to be important just to keep that nice and free, so that I'm tightening and adjusting the bearing and pushing the outer race into the inner, that this slides nice and free. It's not getting caught, give me a false reading. So a bit of sandpaper around that rim and take out some of that scum as well. So welcome back to the channel. This is the second part of the front wheel bearings for the grey and gold Ferguson 35. So these new bearings arrived and hub seal in the back. So I'm going to go through fitting these, taking them out. As you've seen in the first part was very easy. These slots allow you to get your punch in from the other side and to tap everything out. I didn't find them hard to tap out at all. So what I usually do, this is the third set that I've done. I usually start with the outer bearing, and that's the outer race. Make sure it's cut the right way, because it's going to be like this. So I'm going to get an old race and I'm going to use it to tap that down. So I'll continue from there. So this is the old outer race. I usually use the narrower side, tap it down, so I have better sort of a feel of, or you can use this side either, but whatever. So I'll keep tapping this in and I'll come back to you when it's done. That's it after tapping in, no issues at all, good tight fit. So now your next job is to put in the outer race of the other bearing. So everything was after getting a good clean in there, so it does help. And I ran around with the Dremel and with a bit of wire brush on a drill, and then finally just a bit of sandpaper in my hand, basically just running around. So I'm going to tap that in with the old outer race, and I'll come back to you when that's done. I might actually record a bit of it just tapping in, just to show you. getting a little bit low. Nearly there. So I'll come back when that's done. The next bit I do is I get the grease and I just work it into the rollers the whole way around. Work it in around the cage, top and bottom. Give it a good twist. That'll give a good starting point. And that pops in, and then the next thing is to put the grease seal. So I get a nice flat washer and I'll tap it in with that. So it's always the spring in towards your oil or your grease. Right, so then you're looking something like that. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start putting a lot of grease in here, and then finally I'll fit the hub and then fit the inner race of the outer bearing. So that's the next job. Put a bit of grease in there. Fit it. Just making sure to get that inner bearing lined up. That looks good. And outer bearing. Have the outer race greased, so again, same story. Rub in a bit of grease into the cage, into the rollers, just to get it started. There's already loads of grease in there, and that just pushes in. Now I'm going to rub the hands. I'm going to move the camera around a bit so I can see what's going on. Now I'll just lengthen this leg a little bit. Now this is the captive washer, so a bit of grease. A bit of grease is no harm. Both sides, the slot is there. Put it on. On with the hub nut. I'll tighten that up. I'll have to get the adjustable spanner for that. So I'll get the adjustable spanner and tighten that up and come back. I actually got a socket to fit it, so I'm just going to bring it in a little bit and I'm going to put the wheel onto it. And then when I get the wheel on it, I'll be able to get a feel for what load is on that bearing. So that's just nipping up there. So let's get the wheel on and those wheel nuts and I'll come back. So on with the trusty 1/16 socket. Another channel that I'm following on YouTube is a channel called Father and Son Tractors, and it is exactly what it says in the tin. It's a father and his young son restoring an early Ferguson 20 with the Continental Z120 engine in it. There's only a small few of them made between 1946 and 1947. And I was following them on the social media, and I seen that they were going to be doing this job as well on the wheel bearings, or at least pulling the wheel hubs off and inspecting things. And I gave him a bit of a few pointers on it, and he was saying that he was going to look at these videos of me doing this when he's doing his own. So it's just a little shout out to their channel. I'm really enjoying their videos. I'm going to go and put up a screenshot of their channel for anyone else who is interested in these sort of vintage tractor projects, it's a great channel, and it's lovely to see his young son so interested in restoring these old pieces of iron. So I'll put up the screenshot to their channel and give them a like, give them a subscribe, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. So now the next job on this is just to, they say, is to tighten it up good, just to help centralize all the bearings. You want to get a bit of drag on things in there. So that's good and tight there now. Now, that's definitely too tight, and that's exactly what we want. That's just going to pull all those bearings together and then off. That's probably a little bit loose. Then you get your split pin or cotter pin, I think, and you're happy with it. To figure out why the cotter pin goes straight down. No, just let jack. Oh, I don't need to jack. What I usually do with these is I go a little bit tight for first while, then after a few months I just recheck again, because these bearings will need to bed in a little bit. So I'm going to go with there. If that cotter pin will go through, and it will, so that's good. So I'm going to go with there. I'm going to tap that cotter pin in. I'm going to bend the end of them just to go through that castellated nut. Hold them. Let's twist them, of course, so I'll get pliers. Wants to twist. Now that's it. And then tap this in under there. Hopefully out of the way. Not catching anything, and it's not. I'm happy with that for load on the bearings. Feels like it's supported, feels like everything's turning easy, but at the same time the bearings are doing their thing. So I'm going to put the hub cap, grease hub cap back on, but I'm going to fill the cap with a bit of grease, and it'll help just keep all of that intact. Now, so my cap is full of grease. One thing you have to make sure about that cotter pin in there that's going through the nut is that you've bent it up enough to allow this cap to screw on. Another thing about the father and son YouTube channel is, well, I suppose the reason why I'm still working on these things is I used to work on a very early Ferguson 20 with my father 25 years ago, and that's why I bought this. So it's testament to I suppose the influence of your father. When they're doing cool things, you know, their children want to do cool things as well. So that's why I'm doing this. There's no other reason for it. I was exposed to this type of thing, and now I have my own house on my own space. I'm doing it here, and I hope that my kid or kids will follow my footsteps. I'm just going to tighten these a little bit just for testing purposes. There shouldn't be really any testing needed on this new bearings. Some people over tighten these, they're not going to come off like. So I hope that has been a bit of a help to you if you're doing the same job. This is the third set of them that I've done on these type tractors so far, and there's rarely any issues. They're the same wheel bearings as the Ferguson 20, 35, the 135, loaded them. So that's buttoned back up. I will be returning to my Ferguson 20 rear axle rebuild project next week when I get my diff bearings. Wheel bearings, if anyone who's following that on the Ferguson 20 playlist on my channel, the wheel bearings went in lovely after I put them in the air fryer. So its next job is going to be getting the oxyacetylene gas torch on those to heat them up red hot. These are a shrink fit, so you heat them up and you tap them down. They should literally fall down, and then when they cool, they keep that bearing race in place. So until next time, take it handy.